The world outside the window was a blur of indifferent sky and rapidly approaching Earth, yet the chaos inside the cabin felt distant, muted. Time itself seemed to warp and unravel, stretching thin around the anchor of his touch. The screams of the other passengers faded into a dull, hollow echo, their terror becoming a watercolor painting left out in the rain. My entire universe, my entire consciousness, had contracted to the searing point of contact between his skin and mine. Heat of him was a brand, a focus in the storm of my dissolving reality. He leaned closer, his proximity a shield against the rising tide of panic that threatened to drown me. His scent filled my senses, something like ancient stone and cold night air, an impossible fragrance in the sterile cabin. His voice was not a shout to be heard over the pandemonium, but a low, resonant rumble that vibrated through my bones, cutting through the symphony of destruction. This flight always had a destination. My name, he spoke my name as if he had tasted it on his tongue for 1,000 years. A shiver that had nothing to do with fear traced its way down my spine. How could he know my name? A desperate, reflexive instinct made me try to pull my hand away, but his grip was unyielding, a manacle of warm, living steel. "Who are you?" I breathed, the question a fragile thread in the howling storm. His silver eyes held mine, and in their luminous depths I saw not malice, but a profound, weary sorrow that seemed as old as time itself. "I am the guide," he answered, his words cryptic and heavy with a meaning that settled deep in my soul. "I am here to ensure the passengers reach their final stop." His gaze drifted past me, a flicker of cosmic duty, and I forced myself to follow it. The woman across the aisle, who had been sobbing into her hands moments before, was now strangely translucent. Her form flickered, her edges blurring into the seat behind her, a faint, pulsing light emanating from her chest. All around us, the same impossible phenomenon was happening. The 180 other souls were becoming shades, their mortal terror giving way to a quiet, spectral confusion. They were already gone, their bodies just shells left behind in the fall. "No," I whispered, shaking my head in frantic denial. "This isn't real, it's a hallucination." "It is the only thing that is real right now," he countered, his tone leaving no room for argument. "But you are different." His focus returned to me, sharp and intense. "Your soul was not meant to be on this manifest. It burns too brightly. It refuses to fade." He looked at me then, truly looked at me, and the ancient sorrow in his eyes was at war with a dawning, dangerous curiosity. He was as thrown by my resilience as I was by his existence. A surge of primal defiance flooded my veins, a refusal to be extinguished. I would not become a ghost. I would not fade away into a quiet light. "I am not dying today," I snarled, my voice raw with a desperation that surprised me. A corner of his mouth curved in a humorless, devastating smile. "No," he agreed, his silver gaze burning with an intensity that stole my breath. "Perhaps you are not." The plane gave a final, bone-jarring shudder as the end rushed up to meet us. "There is one way for you to walk away from this," he said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that was somehow more powerful than the roar of the wind. "One impossible path, but the price would be binding you to me, Alara, forever."
Want to keep the flame ignited without having to wait for the next part? You can find the full, tantalizing tale on our main page. See the link in the description.